Well, good evening, great evening, God evening. I know y'all sick of me today. I done got on my own nerves on today being online. It's Dion, otherwise known as the Radical Midwife, and happy Wednesday to each and every one of you. I pray that you've had an amazing day thus far. We've had an extremely eventful day in our group today. I'm excited about what I'm seeing. Hey, Inetta. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Akia. Hey, Joy, baby. Hey, Miss Connie. I'm excited about tonight and going a layer deeper. Hey, LC. I'm trying to give folks a moment to get on. I'm sick of Facebook on today, but I have one job to do. Hola, como esta, senora? Would you like some candy corn? I'm meddling Kim, y'all. She's candy corn head. Her and Sabrina, the three people on the planet I know. Hey, Dee. Hey, Miss Barbara. Good evening. That I know that eat candy corn. I don't know what's the matter with y'all, honey. Who eats candle wax? That's just special. Anyway, tonight, you guys, we are going to go into it. If you are a part of the Radical Reset group, y'all know we getting down and dirty with this thing. We are pulling out no stops. We are going full momentum with growing in leaps and bounds. I'm sure some folks are extremely uncomfortable. I absolutely love it. I told y'all I'm designed to agitate you into great. It's my sole purpose in life. And today, I have the unmitigated gall to be absolutely unapologetic about it. I'm excited to do it because I know that greater is on the other side of my agitation. So I'm excited about tonight's share. Hopefully, you heard yesterday's share from Elizabeth, and then on Monday, Sam's share. And listen, y'all, we are in week 2, mid drift. So it means we are at the halfway mark, right? So I'm really excited to present to some and introduce to others. Again, my sister, my girlfriend, my home slice, Miss Simone Lane of Bespoke Budgeting and Lobdell and Lane Wealth Management, baby. Y'all ain't ready. We're going to have some wealth to manage directly. So, with no further ado, ladies and gents, here is my sister, Simone Lane.
Good
Sydney, take it
evening.
away. I'm leaving.
Okay. Thanks, babe.
Uh-oh. That wasn't it. Sorry.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm excited about tonight. I was actually homesick today with a cold, but nothing was going to keep me from coming here tonight to share what I believe is going to be a radical word, a word to help transform and transition us going forward financially. It's a hard topic. It's always a hard topic. It's it's a tough thing to deal with because it's that one of those things that no one ever has to see. No one ever has to see our credit scores that we're putting on, being hot and transparent and posting. Nobody has to know the level of debt and financial turmoil that we're in. So I understand that it's a tough place, and I'm so glad that you're trusting the process. You're returning your financial assessment forms and being transparent and vulnerable and sending me messages about your areas of concern. So let's get into it today. I wanted to talk about going from prodigal to radical. Okay, so the word prodigal, when we look up its definition, what it means is that it's spending money and resources recklessly. Recklessly. It's wasteful extravagance. So you're just out here just spending no rhyme or reason. That's what prodigal, the prodigal son, was um, extravagant and wasteful and reckless in his spending. I'm gonna go ahead and give the definition here to radical as well. So I love it. We're going from that prodigal stage to this radical stage. It's a person who advocates thorough and complete political and social reform. In this case, I want to tailor it to us, and I want to say we're going to advocate for thorough and complete financial freedom and debt freedom. Okay. So, step one, here's what we have to do: you have to admit that there's a problem. Debt is a problem. And until we address it and are honest about it and say, you know what, I have a problem with not just debt, but spending. Some people, credit cards and debt might not be your problem, but you never have any money left over. That too is a problem. So, admitting that it's a problem and addressing it. So, in the case of debt, debt erodes your wealth. Those interest payments that that you pay every month on a credit card statement, um, that's taken away from what you could be putting elsewhere. Um, if you know anything about me, I am a D-free head. It's a program that many organizations go through, and I'm going to share. I facilitated it several times, and I'm going to share some of the tenets with you this evening. And again, the first one is about admitting that I have a problem. Thank you, Kenya. I see you. I see you. And so, in doing that, we're going to talk about how what debt does to us, how it erodes our wealth, money that we could be putting away for our children and our children's children. We're pretty much giving, donating it to these credit card companies. And I'm going to ask a question: do you think they need your donations? You think they need your money? Probably not, but we keep giving it to them. The other thing that debt does is it exhibits impatience. It when you're paying with credit because you don't have the discipline to be patient and wait and save for the thing that you're trying to buy. And doing that, you position yourself to be entangled and enslaved to now this credit card payment and these interest payments, because we're in a credit culture. We're in a culture that says, mm, I don't have to wait for it. I want it right now. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get it right now. Well, the enslavement of it in Proverbs 22:7, it says that the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. So when you buy what you cannot otherwise afford, that enslaves you um, to that system. And so we have to address what debt does. Another thing debt does is it eliminates opportunities. You can't give to other organizations because you have credit card payments. That was my story. I was, was a financial advisor already, and I had debt problems. And I was, I can make my payments. I'm okay. But when a moment came to sow somewhere, I couldn't, because my money was locked up and paying off this debt and paying these interest payments. So it's really, really important as we're breaking down and going ground level and admitting what our problem is and knowing the true hold that debt will have on you. That's another thing. We miss opportunities of being able to give to the kingdom and advance kingdom work, because again, our money is locked up. I couldn't give to anything else because I had thousands of dollars in um, payments, not aggressive debt being paid off, just in payments. So I'm grateful to be free, and I'm grateful to be able to be here to help share ways that you too can be free. This program liberated me, and I will always advocate for it and help others get there. The next step is we have to address the mess that you're in. So it's time to dig deeper with this level and talk about the types of spendings and spenders that we are. And typically there's three types of spenders. The first one is your compensatory. So that's your retail therapy shopper. You're shopping to fill a void. Your feelings got hurt. Your husband hurt your feelings, so you're gonna go buy a bag. You didn't get that promotion that you thought you should do or get, so you're gonna shop away the pain of that void or of your feelings being hurt. I told you I'm a movie person. So last week we had a piece of the Wiz. This week I don't have a video, but I want you to go look up. There's a scene in Monsters Ball. That's a movie that Halle Berry was in. And in this scene, she's with the other actor, and she's crying, and he says, "I don't know what you want from me." And I'm not an actress, but I'm gonna try my best. And so she says, "I want you to make me feel good." And so, she's like pulling on her clothes. I am going to ask all of you to go look at that scene. Now, it's a little explicit in the sense of there's a little nudity, so don't watch it around your kids. But I want all of you to go look at that scene. And the next time you go and you want to go shop and have retail therapy, I want you to remember that scene because that's what you look like as far as you going in the store spending and shopping like that. You're looking for somebody just to make you're looking for that thing to make you feel good. And it can't fill the void. So compensatory spending is your retail therapy. The next type of spending we have is conspicuous spending. That's that spending for status, so I can look like I got it. So those where you get your red bottoms and your Gucci whole attire and your luxury cars that you really can't afford. You can barely afford the payment, and you don't have the reserves to even support having that type of vehicle. That's about buying logos, buying brands. You're not being paid to rep that brand or that logo unless we have some stocks, and we'll talk about that later. But usually we're not being compensated for those brands. We're just trying to keep up with the Joneses, or at least that's what it used to be. Keeping up with the Joneses today in this credit culture and reality culture, it's more like trying to keep up with the Kardashians. And at least back in the day, the Joneses lived in our hood, in our community up the street. We could see them. We're not seeing the Kardashians. We don't live where the Kardashians live. So trying to keep up with that, it doesn't help us. It's not helpful. It's detrimental to the process. So dealing with that conspicuous spending. The next is confused spending. Talked about it last week. That's dumb debt. That's that dumb debt that you don't even know what you bought. You got this $3,000 credit balance now, and you really can't account for what you got with that. So we have to deal with the types of spending so that we can really go inward and look at how we're going to get out of these processes, these traps that we've allowed ourselves to get entrapped in. So you have to determine what your wants are versus what your needs are. So Philippians 4:19 says, part A of it says, "But my God shall supply all of your needs." Hmm, needs, not wants. And I really want everybody to start tonight, make a list of what your wants and your needs are. And I want you to do that because sometimes we can get stuck and we can get to the point where we find ourselves angry with God because we had something that was on our needs list that was really a want. And so when he didn't provide that to you and supply that, you find yourself questioning, is that word true? No, that word is true. You have to test and determine what your needs and what your wants are, and separating them, and separate them in advance. Do it before um, you want it, and before it's a thing that you're questioning if you should be getting it, because is it, do I need it or do I want it? When you do things in advance, it helps to structure you. It'll keep you, forgive me, it'll keep you forward and keep you going towards the goal. But when you don't have an anchor of any rules or guidelines for yourself, you will find yourself doing, I was a compensatory and a confused spender. Um, I would do a lot of retail therapy, and then the bag would sit in the corner of my room because I really didn't want the things. It just made me feel good to do it, to shop that way. The confused or dumb debt was, you know, let's be honest, Target will get you. So I would go into Target and, I needed Kleenex. And I'm coming out $350 later because I have a Target card and I could just, oh yeah, go ahead and put it on that. And, I'll deal with it later. Um, those are tricks and entrapments of debt. So we really have to determine what our wants and our needs are, deal with, what our types of spending are. You tell me some of the types of spending. I'm starting to see some of the feedback on what types of spenders you are. Tell me what that looks like for you. Are you compensatory? Are you confused? Do you do conspicuous? And okay, let's go all the way in. Let's be all the way honest. I've been on a great debt freedom journey, and I like I said before, I was a compensatory and a confused spender. But in this next phase of life, the pandemic's been good to me. um, I came up in ways that I hadn't come up before. And so in that, I found myself getting into conspicuous spending. And as I started to see it with this type of bag, I mean, I tell you the truth, I probably have bought 10 bags in the last 3 months. I don't need 10 bags. But it was this sense of status. It's a sense of, okay, I can afford to get it now. I might not be buying it on debt. So these types of spending isn't just about it's putting you in a debt place. It's just not, it don't meet my purpose. It doesn't meet my goals of legacy planning for my family. And so I had to check that thing real quick. Um, because that could turn into a real problem. And that was never something that I had an issue with before. But again, as you go to other levels, you'll find things try to creep in ways that they hadn't before. So I see y'all. I see you with a lot of the bags and the shopping. So it looks like we have a lot of compensatory. So we feel the need to be compensated for our feelings. Please go look at that scene from Monsters Ball. It's gonna make you really check yourself. If you realize, I want you to realize that how she is, that's what you look like. That's what I look like when I'm doing that form of shopping. And then I want some feedback. You guys are gonna probably don't judge me once you see it, but oh, shoes. Okay, Kim, shoes. I did that, and okay. God, he keeps challenging me. Okay, so I had this thing where one of my issues is my weight, and I don't want to do the work. I don't want to do the work to change that. But guess what I can do? I can cut my hair and have a banging hairstyle. I can get an outfit. I can get some bad shoes and and have that look and compensate for an area that I don't want to do the work. And so I don't know why I felt like I needed to share that, to break some holds about how we shop. And again, everything is not about it putting you in debt. Most times it does, but it's just about the concept of spending. Why are we spending that way? Okay, y'all all in my business a little bit here tonight. But the next thing we want to do is we have to get organized. We have to, yes, Kim, my shoe size never changes. Exactly. Um, so the next thing we have to do is we have to get organized. We got to find our leaks. We've got to do an assessment. And what I want you to know is you should be knowing how much do I owe? How many give me some feedback. How many of you know how much debt you really have to the I would say to the hundred of dollars. You don't have to know down to the $20, but within $100, how many of you know how much debt you really have? Because that's usually something that we don't deal with. We don't want to deal with it until a bill comes in, and even then, we're not calculating fully all of our debt. Knowing how much you owe is really, really important. You have to know, if you don't, you can't work on what you don't know. You don't even know how to ask God how to help you on a thing if you don't really know the exact figure. You don't know how to put a strategy together. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Okay, I like it. You ladies know your stuff. You know your numbers. Um, okay, knowing the numbers is a big essential part of, now we can move into a strategy. We can move into a plan to change that. And the first plan, like I said, is figuring out the type of spender you are so that we can stop those bad habits and begin to put some other habits in place. Um, putting a strategy in place, it's not easy. Pulling out, when I ask you to get organized, that looks like pulling out all those statements like I talked about last week. I need you to pull out everything, and put it all on the table so that you can know what it is. And some of you may find it to be a place of shame, or a place of, oh my God, I really don't want to deal with it. I promise you, after the pain, there's liberty. There's a way out, but we've got to at least address it and put it on the table. The next thing I want to talk to you about is your relationship with money and debt, and its connection to your spiritual maturity. So when we find ourselves in debt and not mismanaging money, there's a spiritual connection to that, and how, and to your spiritual maturity. It doesn't mean you're not giving your tithe, doesn't mean you don't give an offering, but you're walking in a lesser place when you haven't managed and decided and determined that you were going to manage that aspect of your life and your money. um, So what managing it looks like is, another thing I had going on was, I would do I would make delinquent payments, and I had the money because I wasn't organized. I'm paying late fees. Now not only am I paying interest, I'm paying late fees because of this lack of discipline that I have, this lack of being organized and having everything on the table. Another thing it looked like was, for me, was duplicate purchasing. I remember on two occasions at minimum in one case, I bought the exact same pants twice because I had forgotten that I had bought them before, because they were just tucked in the closet, that, I didn't need it. I just wanted an extra pair. And here I am, the exact same pair. I had done that with a household item. Saw this towel rack that I just had to have. I bought the exact same towel rack another time. And so, when we're not organized, when we're not in tune with our finances and our attitude, and our attitude towards money and our spending, that's what it looks like. And so as we get organized and we find our leaks are those, like I said last week, I'll know you by your bank statement. I'll know you. You send me a bank statement, and I can kind of tell you who you are, or at least what you do, and a lot about you, and definitely where your leak is. Um, my leak was food. It still is. I dine out a lot. You look at my statements, it's probably mostly gonna be something of that nature. I take care of everything else, but that's my leak. And so finding those leaks and plugging them up, deciding and determining, I'm not going to leak that. I'm not going to leak Starbucks. I'm not going to leak, um, um, for me, dining out. There was a time I was at the grocery store every day for 5 days. I looked at my statement when I went through my assessment, my initial assessment. and you're going to look at your bank statements and see where you're spending. I had been to the grocery store every day for 5 days. That makes no sense. That I was out of control. And it wasn't about how much the bill was, it wasn't that I was spending $300 every time. But why did I need to be at the grocery store every day, 5 days in a row? Out of order, unorganized, undisciplined. And so that was a big piece for me to learn and see that. So dealing with those things will really, really, really help us get to the next level, and that's adjusting our attitude and adjusting your mindset in line with the prodigal son. That's that place where he came to his senses. So as we come to our senses, and he realized that even the servants in his father's house ate better than he was and lived better than he was. I want you to come to your senses and realize that God has a better plan for you, and it doesn't include being bound and enslaved by debt. We're going to recognize that debt causes high stress, it causes sleepless nights, it causes you to pay more for things than you should. It causes you to not be prepared for emergencies. It can even affect your employment. Credit employers are pulling credit today to see if they want to employ you. So recognizing that how debt affects your life, and knowing that I don't want to do that anymore. So when you're done with debt and mismanagement of money, you too, like the prodigal son, not only can return home, and what returning home is to God's intended plan for you, but you can be radical about it. That means and advocating for thorough and complete, not just a little bit, but thorough and complete full reform. So I want you to take the radical step tonight. And this week, I want you to, between now and our next session, pull your credit reports, get all your statements up, tally up all your balances. I want you to determine what type of spender you are. And I want you to be mindful about that spending this week, mindful about the type of spending you're doing. And next week, what we'll do is we'll address how to plug up those leaks so that we can compile a budget and we can begin to pay off this debt and bills on time and be radical about it. Okay, we're going from prodigal to radical, and I'm here for it. I love to be a guide and a help, and we'll do it together. That's my time. Thank you.